Galimera, Galimera, Galimera. Good morning, good morning. And I have so much to tell you today that I'm going to virtually get quickly to it. But in the meantime, just a quick look at the grapes coming along nicely on the trestle. Just to remind you, all the grapes that are up on the trestle, they're all the eaters. There's the ones that we can actually eat. Whereas the grapes that are down in the vineyard areas, they're all for wine making. So as you can imagine, during the winter, and also late summer, Yanni's got his rocket fuel on the go, and I'll tell you now, his rocket fuel, he's got better over the years. I've got to be honest, it's got better and it's got nicer. He's obviously improved his technique. So anyway, that's a quick look at the real estate. As for the weather today, from the lovely Amanda, she says, morning Ginge, Thursday's weather, sunny and warm, yellow warning for extreme high temperatures. Temperatures are going to be between 33 and it will feel like 37. She says, have a great day. Once again, don't forget there is a fire warning in place from the local fire brigade. So please, if you're here on the island, just be very careful what you do with your naked flames and do not innocently cause a fire. All right. Right. One of the big stories today then for you is last night I met up with Dennis at Magdalena's, and it looks like we are going to be starting entertainment, and that's going to be starting from Friday night, our first night Friday night, kick off 10 o'clock in the evening, and it will be our Amy Winehouse and Lady Gaga tribute with the lovely Danielle Rogers, which will be our first bit of live entertainment here at Magdalena's under the new rules that come into place as well, where we have a vaccinated area inside upstairs, and then downstairs is vaccinated and mixed area, so you can still come and enjoy the entertainment. It's just that you won't be allowed, if you're not vaccinated, to be upstairs. Anyway, we'll give you more information on that as we go along. Just quickly, the program's looking like this: Friday, Amy Winehouse, Lady Gaga; Saturday, Thunder Elvis; Sunday, Elton John; and then Monday it will be ABBA, hopefully, and the ABBA act is going to be repeated twice a week. Also as well, just be aware, food is also going to start at Magdalena's. That's going to start on Saturday morning with the lovely Dionys. So once again, if you want to get a legendary Magdalena's breakfast, it will be open for food as of Saturday. All right, so come and check out Dionys and the rest of the crew in the morning, which would be absolutely fantastic. Now, to that end, I may not do a broadcast tomorrow because I have got such a busy time sorting stuff out, getting ready for tomorrow night. I really will not have chance to do a broadcast tomorrow morning as I would normally do. I just want to get everything in, get everything sorted, sound checked, and also as well, all the other palaver with self-testing and all the other stuff that has to be done as well before I can go back to work as well. So all of that's got to be sorted and done and ironed out. Anyway, let's just quickly get down to the news then. Arrivals today in Athens. We've got one flight in from Athens. We've got one flight in from Amsterdam. We've got 3 from Germany, 2 from Brussels, 2 from Italy, 1 from Austria, 1 from Bulgaria. We've also got 1 flight from Switzerland, 1 from Hungary. And guess what? We have got 1 EasyJet flight from Liverpool, and that's coming in today at 1:05. So again, still a trickle feed of Brits on the way here to Zakynthos. When it comes to infection over the last 24 hours, it is on the decline across Greece. New infection numbers are as follows: 2,938 new cases reported, which is down from the 3,109 on the previous day. 7 new cases were identified after checks into the country. That's also down on the previous day where we had 11. Now, interestingly, cases on the islands at the moment, according to the national stats, Macardo, who's been very quiet for ages, has had 1 case. Corfu, they've had 7 new cases on their island. As for Kefalonia, no new cases have been reported there. However, Zakynthos now has reported 6 new cases here on the island. That brings our total at the moment up to around about 33 cases for the month of July, which is well up on the previous month where we only had 7 in June. 33 is not boding well for us at the moment. So anyway, just thought I'd let you know. Anyway, as for deaths, unfortunately, they've just crept up slightly across the country. Last time I reported to you, 4 deaths. That is just up now to 7 new deaths across the country. That's bringing the death toll now to 12,813. Again, 96% of those people had underlying health issues or were over the ages of 70. And our condolences to those families that are affected by that. When it comes to critical cases, they've also just started to creep up. I did report to you the other day there was 133 people in ICUs across Greece. At the moment, that number has just crept up to 135 cases. 89 of those are male and 46 of those are female. Once again, the average age of people in critical cases, 67 years of age. They have had underlying health issues, 83% of them, or they're over the age of 70. So let's fingers crossed that those people get better and are then discharged from hospital. Right, okay, let's go into today's news then. Right, today's news then, there were thousands of anti-vaxxers rallying across Greece in Athens, Thessaloniki and other cities around Greece. I'm not sure whether we had any demonstrations here in Zakynthos. None of the local press are saying anything, if we have had. Anyway, so on Wednesday they were campaigning against the package of new coronavirus rules that ramp up the pressure on the public to get vaccinated. Now, alongside around about 4,000 that turned out in the front of the Greek Parliament in Athens, police said that there were several hundred people also took to the streets of Thessaloniki, Ionia, and also Heraklion, which is in Crete, for the same reason. These were the largest anti-vaxxer demonstrations in Greece to date, the state radio reported. The demonstrations followed the Greek government's announcement recently that only vaccinated people would be allowed to eat inside at restaurants and to enter cultural institutions. Immune-only venues and spaces in Greece will be only for those who have been fully vaccinated or have immunity through having had the virus in the last 6 months. Anyway, everyone must also have corresponding certification to prove their status to gain access to venues. The plan also allows for mixed venues, which also grant access to the unvaccinated, but only if they have a negative or rapid or PCR test for COVID. Now, the measures can apply to either indoor areas or outdoor spaces that are likely to be crowded. Anyway, carers and healthcare workers will also require vaccination under the new rules, with those refusing facing dismissal. Compulsory vaccination will also apply to serving in the armed forces, including conscripts. Now, that part of that article, I think, is slightly incorrect. The wording was people that were in the armed forces were given the option whether they want to be vaccinated, and then they were given 5 days leave if they took up the option. So I think that little bit in the article is incorrect. Although anti-vaxxers in Greece are a minority, according to several recent opinion polls, analysts say their movement could grow, undermining the authorities' efforts to vaccinate more Greeks. And anyway, you all know where I stand on that, and I still do not want to be vaccinated at the moment. Anyway, update on a story from a couple of days ago concerning the tourists who tried to get on a plane. It seems, in fact, there wasn't 4 lady tourists, it was actually 5 that tried to get on a plane, skip quarantine and get out of the country. The tourists obviously were located by the police, who then obviously took them back to the quarantine hotel. However, according to an interview that was done between the quarantine hotel owner and municipal councillor George Stereotakis, speaking to Hermes News, he said that the English tourists did not leave his hotel, but some of the rooms they had rented and stayed in, I don't quite understand what he's getting on there, but he did say this issue took on another dimension and the news went around Greece because it also had a funny side to it. Well, I'd like to see what the funny side to it was. It's basically 5 idiots breaking the rules, thinking they can get away with it, get on a plane and get back to the UK, which actually makes it look very, very bad for the British. So I don't see a funny side to that. I just see an absolutely stupid side to it. He did say, however, he said that the girls will stay a few more days at the quarantine hotel, although their vacation is not quite as they imagined. So there we go. It was 5, not 4. They're still in the quarantine hotel down in Kerry, which actually is a very, very nice little hotel. And if anybody's doing well out of a crisis, I would think that gentleman is, because he's getting paid by the government to run a quarantine hotel. And also, don't forget, unlike the UK, if you get found out to be COVID positive and you arrived in the UK finding out that you've failed the test, you end up in a travelodge somewhere on the outskirts of Gatwick Airport, and you're paying £1,900 for your stay there. Whereas here, if you get picked up before you are either getting on your flight or arriving on your flight, you get sent to that hotel at no cost to yourself. It's your holiday, basically, and you're there for as long as they deem you fit to be there before you can get on a flight and then obviously leave the country. So there you go. Right. Just to let you know about flights here, since the beginning of the season up until now, we've had a total of 1,000 flights to Zakynthos Airport, and that includes domestic as well as the international flights and charters. The last few days show that the turn has been made by tourists and the climate of change, since every day the number of visitors who come on holidays to our island is increasing. Now, they are saying that if we continue at this pace, Zakynthos may be able to catch the target of arrivals that was at 40% in 2019. Now, the data and the image that exists for the international flights is constantly improving, and in addition to the increase of our visitors, it is also available to the naked eye. And by that they're meaning you just have to walk around, especially where I spend a lot of time, which is in Sillavi, and you can see more people on the streets. You do see more people walking up and down. And so you do feel that there is a buzz of activity in that resort, especially at the top end of the resort, up around the area of the Azure Hotel, around by the Arc Bar, Two Brothers, and those locations. You definitely do feel a buzz. A little bit more quieter down the Magdalena's end of town, but it is slowly getting busier around there. Anyway, they also said in the number of people since the beginning of the season, we have exceeded 105,000 who have come here to the island, a number which is a satisfactory data of the pandemic and the fear of travelling in such difficult and unstable times. Basically, 105,000 it's better than nothing, put it that way. They don't say what the figure would have been in a normal season around about this time, but at least 105,000 people arriving to the island is slowly helping things make a turn for the better. Anyway, these figures apply to the airport and international flights, but we must also take into account the domestic tourism has now started to move, with arrivals of Greeks on their holidays, and although these numbers are smaller. And don't forget, the Greeks will come en masse supposedly round about August time, when Athens just basically shuts down for 2 weeks and everybody comes over for their holiday at that time. Now, in the next 2 weeks of July and August, that is the peak of the traffic expected, and everyone's interest is focused on the Delta mutation, with the fear of and the terror which is affecting businessmen as to how they're going to see their businesses proceed within the next couple of weeks. Now that hoteliers and other occupations around tourism have taken a breather, an increase in the number of COVID infections and deaths would be the worst that could happen for our economy. And as you've already seen, we have had a bit of a spike here at the moment in comparison to last month. Anyway, it says recently the World Health Organization announced that the pandemic is evolving wildly around the world, and that the coronavirus continues to be dangerous and returns in variants. The pandemic curve is rising, and that means we need to be careful. Now, the interest is also being focused on the UK market, which is obviously going to open on July the 19th. As on this date, the quarantine is lifted for fully vaccinated Britons, who will be allowed to return from orange destinations without having to quarantine. Although the British have started to travel to Zakynthos, it's expected that the large volume that will fill hotels will also start to arrive. And also we're still waiting for the arrival of flights from companies like Jet2 at the moment. They are still to start their program. TUI are slowly increasing their program, and EasyJet again, they are slowly increasing their program of flights from the UK. So again, let's wait and see how things start to pan out. Anyway, also interestingly, from today, controls to boarding of ships, that's going to be undertaken now. We're talking about ferries getting on and off the island. That is going to be undertaken now by officers of the Coast Guard. This will be decided during a meeting with the leadership of the Coast Guard. Now, the decision ensures that the completeness of the controls and consequently the maximum possible protection of health of passengers, which is a constant priority for the Ministry of Shipping and Island Policy. So basically what they're saying now is they're giving the responsibility now to checking passengers getting on and getting off the ferries. It looks like that's going to be a Coast Guard responsibility. To be honest, we've also been waiting for a very long time, and it's been mooted at this when we had serious spikes. Why is not more being done to test people getting on and off the ferries? We had lots of people coming over from Athens because they had a house here. They would come over because they would feel safer on an island like here, and obviously bringing infection with them as they came across. So again, in some ways, it seems it's been a little late in coming. This should have happened months ago, but now it seems that with this new variant on the way, that they're now stepping up more stricter controls of people being able to get on and off the ferries. And if you remember, there's already been rules in place that you have to test negative before you can get on a ferry to get off the island. And the same to get onto the island. But now it's going to be more reinforced by the use of the Coast Guard. Also, as well, in the early hours of Tuesday morning, the Zakynthos police reported that they arrested 2 foreigners who were drunk while riding motorcycles. They've been taken before the Zakynthos public prosecutor. Once again, just to remind you, just because you're on holiday, you can't drink and drive. You can't do things that you would never get away with in the UK, in the way of riding motorcycles, riding quad bikes, drinking irresponsibly. Trust me, the police are out. They're looking, they're watching, and if they catch you, they will catch you. And once again, you don't want to end up in a Greek jail. All right. So once again, just be aware. The police are out and they are checking to make sure people are following the law, whether it's regards COVID or whether it's drink driving. A serious complaint has been made for several days at the to the Port Authority of Zakynthos that they've asked for a barrel that has been washed up from the sea in the Kerry area to be removed and investigated. Now, according to information, this barrel was accidentally found on a beach while some people were passing by on a boat in Kerry. The main cause of concern, which needs to be investigated, is that the contents of the barrel, people had reported developing rashes and skin complaints after swimming at the spot on the approaches to where this barrel has been laid on the beach. Looking at the picture of the barrel, which I'm just going to quickly show you now, hopefully you can see that. I'm not sure if that's showing up very well, but that's that barrel. To me, it looks like a mine, to be honest, like something you'd see from the Second World War, used for coastal defence. But anyway, they're now imploring that something is done. Also, don't forget, Kerry is a location very close to where the National Marine Park is as well. And obviously, what we don't want is some problem with the some infection getting into the National Marine Park from this barrel. So again, we'll keep an eye on that story and we'll see if this container is removed or whether it's just going to sit there for time immemorial. Interestingly, a list of villages are facing a water shortage here on Zakynthos, and this is growing daily. And with them, protests are coming from the residents who say in these hot conditions, we must seek a solution from the problem in various directions. Now, it seems that areas from Gerika to Trachea and Agarello, the voices of residents there are saying and asking the demos who are responsible for water distribution to come and deal and sort it. They are saying if there's no water from now, what will happen in August when the temperatures will be higher and the needs also will be higher for more water. However, what needs to be made, they say, public, is that the situation with reduced amounts of water has been going on for many weeks. And in one of the cases, there were reports to us that there were residents who were still having problems with getting normal water up until Easter. Anyway, on his part, the mayor of Zakynthos is also the president of the DS, with whom Hermes News had contacted yesterday. He stated that water distribution must make a priority of distribution of water in each area, so there are no privileged, so those people getting it all for themselves or not. The hours that the network must be open for water to reach the last house in each village has to be calculated without giving priorities everywhere. Another useful information for everyone is that the new aquifers that arrived on Zakynthos, which we told you are used in firefighting, but also their job is that they can also be used to move water around and obviously put it into locations where there is a water shortage. So once again, just be aware, please, when you're running your taps, you're doing your stuff, just be careful with your water. Don't try and waste it because there is, believe it or not, a shortage of water here on the island. And finally, a little bit of good news for you. It seems that the WWF sailing boat, the Blue Panda, is coming to Zakynthos, and it's going to be here from the 17th to the 25th of July. It's going to be docked down in the port of Zakynthos, down in the town. Now, this WWF sailing ship, that's doing a sort of a tour across the Mediterranean over up until November. It started in Italy, and it is now making its way to Zakynthos. It's going to be stopping, obviously, at the National Marine Park. It's going to be in the Bay of Laguna. It's going to be in the Bay of Skenana. And basically, it's here basically to promote the work that's been done for the Caretta turtles over the last 30 years and the protection that they've also been involved with as well from the World Wildlife Fund, which has been running for almost 30 years through the cooperation of various groups here and environmental organisations to preserve those habitats. So again, nice little bit of PR. Jane and I said, well, we might go down and have a little visit of the boat, so be on the lookout for it. And also they're probably going to run sort of little tours and little talks where you can meet some of the volunteers that are involved in that very honourable commitment. So there you go. Right, let's have a quick look at anybody who's tuning in this morning. Big shout out to Taff Blight. Nice to have you looking in, fella. Ex-Raf Reg buddy. Also, Wendy Norcliffe is looking in as well. Mick Ling is looking in as well. Nice to see you. Also, somebody said to me, morning, Ginge. From what I read here in the UK, Greece will remain in amber. We're fuming if this is true. We both have had jabs, done everything asked of us during the pandemic and still being held prisoner. He also says, is there any chance that Greece can go red? Fed up with it all, from Tony and Donna in Sunderland. At the moment, trust me, people here were really annoyed at the fact that we are still in amber. But if you think about it, if you've already had the jabs anyway, there's not much difference between in amber and also being in Greece at the moment. It's just the fact that you've gone to the effort of having jabs when you probably might have not wanted to have jabs because you wanted to come and visit a country which, to be honest, is safe. I think some of the rhetoric which has been ramped up this side is making things appear worse than what they really are when you compare it to other nations in the EU, in the realms of vaccination, in the realms of infection. Greece has had, right from the start of this pandemic, a really low infection rate, death rate, incubation rate in comparison to lots of other European countries. it's still a mystery as to why they decided to put Greece onto the amber when we all felt we should be in the green. And it's one of those things, we'll never get to the bottom of that. But at the moment, at least we're in amber. I don't see us going into red unless Mr. Mitsotakis just keeps blowing what's happening at the moment way out of proportion to what is going on in other EU countries. That is the only danger I see of us going into the red. But at the moment, thank you for your comments, interesting ones, and as well, trust me, we've got our eye on this, because the last thing we want is for Greece to go into the red, and there's no need for us to be in the red. So I know yesterday the Balearics all got put into the red. Again, no, sorry, they got put into amber from green. I do apologise, but we're going to have to wait and see. So at the moment, yeah, we're in amber, and supposedly we should stay there. Anybody else? Linda and Gary. Oh, Linda and Gary, can I just say thank you for the lead on that group, the signatures. I listened to some of their music the other day. I've actually put 3 of their tracks into my Northern Soul show that's going out this weekend on beatsradio.co.uk. Absolutely incredible. They're a modern Northern Soul group, absolutely awesome. And their new single, I've also promoted it in the show as well. So thank you for that lead on that group. They're absolutely awesome, and we'll wait and see how well they get on, all right? Cy Grindley is tuning in. Andrew the Fridge Watkins is there as well. Alf Ling is also tuning in as well. Right, I'm going to leave it there because today is Jane's final day of us being together on a day off, all right, because things are getting more busy for her at work. Obviously, things for me now is going to go into overdrive, especially over these next couple of days. So that's one of the reasons why tomorrow, I'm not going to do a broadcast tomorrow, simply because I've got too much to do in Magdalena's. They will keep my ears and eyes to the news as to what's going on. And we kick off with entertainment on Friday night, 10 o'clock in Magdalena's with the lovely Danielle Rogers. I'll be in there doing music video selection from 9 o'clock to warm up. The plan is this as well, is that the shows on beatsradio.co.uk, the dance anthems and the Northern Soul shows, they are now going to get made in Magdalena's so that I can keep my commitment to them alive. And that will be in front of, hopefully, a live audience, even though the audiences are not allowed to dance, not allowed to stand, not allowed to mingle. That's the other rules that are in place. We're going to run things like we did them last year. The entertainers know they're not allowed to touch the audience. They must stay within a certain confined area. People are not allowed to touch them. They're not allowed to interact with them. And we will run things as we did last year. The same with karaoke. We're going to do that like we did last year, seated within a restricted area, basically disinfecting microphones between singers, etc., and see how that works and how that goes along. So anyway, lots of change on the way. Don't forget, food is starting in Magdalena's on Saturday with a lovely Dionys. So again, it's going to be go, 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 Power Rangers. And I will speak to you again soon. You take care. Have a great day. Enjoy yourself. And maybe I'll see some of you soon. Ta-ra.